Hi! Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm drawing with the Upgrade 41 box, and they sent a whole bunch of different kinds of charcoals. There's some charcoal sticks, some charcoal pencils, some chalk pencils, a white kohl pencil, a white pastel pencil, a really cool pencil eraser, and I don't know why they sent an anti-static glove, presumably for smudging, but I've always used that when I'm drawing on my tablet. I don't think I've ever tried it when I'm drawing on paper, but we'll see how it goes. There's only 3 sheets of tinted drawing paper, so I didn't want to waste any swatching. I just swatched everything on a bit of printing paper and then going in with a pencil like I always do. I pretty much always start with a sketch, no matter what media I end up using in the end. Regular pencil is a lot easier to erase and adjust things before you really get into things. Instead of following the box prompt on this one, which is something new, I decided to let the media kind of drive what I'm going to draw. And in this case, it felt like charcoal's felt for some kind of portrait. I'm gonna let you guys figure out who I'm trying to draw, and you can tell me in the comments if it looks like who I want it to be or not. I'm just trying to get the basic proportions and just a general outline down with a pencil before I go in with the charcoals and fill in all the details and shading and stuff like that. Now, I don't use charcoals very often. In fact, it's been a really long time since I've used them at all. But I do remember that can get really messy. So I'm planning, since I'm primarily right-handed, to start in the top left corner and kind of work my way over to the bottom right to try and avoid smudging as much as possible. Another little thing I do to minimize smudging is to put a piece of tissue under my wrist. Now, tissue can still cause some smudging if you move your hand around, but any smudging caused by paper, essentially like tissue paper or any other kind of paper, anything that's not your skin, is a lot easier to erase and fix. Whereas our hands have these natural oils in the skin, and if that makes contact with the paper, when that smudges, they become sort of deeper and more pigmented and then harder to erase. So I try and avoid that as much as possible. I'm also trying to keep my hands clean as much as possible, so I've wrapped a little piece of washi tape around the charcoal where I'm holding it. Now, when I work with charcoals, I tend to darken them in layers, so I'm using a blending stump to blend out the first layer I put down pretty much right away. That gives me an idea of tonal value, and I can clearly see where I need to leave the highlights or darken the shadows. I want this coat to be pretty much jet black, so I've gone straight in with the darkest charcoal pencil in the box because I just want it to stand out. I've left some variation of depth so that when I come back to finish it, I can see where the creases are going to be. Now I'm continuing to work on her from the top left down. just to avoid leaning on any part of the drawing and smudging anything that's already done. I'm not doing any highlights until the whole piece is actually done, but by the time it comes to finishing touches, I just avoid leaning on the paper completely, so I'll basically be hovering my wrist over it while I go over and do the highlights. By this point, the blending stump has already picked up a lot of color from the charcoal from smudging, so I'm just using the pigment on the blending stump to do the shadowing on the lightest part, so I don't have to add any more charcoal or darken it too much. I wanted the details of the eyes to be really crisp, so I needed a really sharp point to do this. Now I just want to deepen the shadows on this side of her face to give her features more contour. The light is basically hitting her from the right, so this will be the darkest side of her face, and I'm relying mostly on the color of the tinted paper for the lightest tonal value, and then add shadows and deepen them as needed. I'm making her eyes the feature point that grab your attention first, just by making all the lines crisp and clean and jet black and unblended in contrast to the rest of the grey tones on the page. By the way, can you tell who it's meant to be yet? I don't know if the hairstyle gives it away any. Now this is the lighter side of her face, so again I'm literally just using whatever pigment is left on the blending stump to do the shadows here. Need a very sharp point again for the detail in the eye. Her face is ever so slightly angled away from me, so that if you imagine she was standing in front of me, facing in my direction, one of her shoulders would be closer to me and one would be further back. So I've tried to angle the eye socket to reflect this slight pivot. I love drawing eyes because of just how much they bring a picture together. And normally when I do a portrait, I would probably start with the eyes. Well, I'd start by sketching down the face so I get the proportions, but then I'll begin the detail with the eyes. Whereas in this case, because the medium, because I'm using charcoal and working from left to right, I've kind of had to do it progressively and only just got to the second eye, which can be quite scary when it's not something you're used to, because obviously you don't want them to look, you know, misshapen or misproportioned or just wrong somehow. That's always the risk when you when you're doing things separately like that. Whereas if you draw both eyes together and then continue on the face, you know who's looking at you, if that makes sense. The mouth area is also really important. I want her lips to look kind of prominent, but not outshine eyes, as it were. I'm blocking out the basic shape first and then filling it in right away for contrast. And then I'm going to work in a few layers of shadows for the contours, curvature, and the creases. And then afterwards I'm going to lift it up with highlights. I'm also paying attention to where I want the lighter area to be, so I leave it a little bit lighter and don't block it out completely. That will make adding highlights a lot easier later on. And I'm just blocking the inside of her mouth out because even though her lips are very slightly open, they're not open enough to show teeth. Adding the contour of her face very delicately on this side because it's in the light, but she does have another strand of hair on that side, so it makes the side of the face more visible than if it were just purely bathed in light. At this point I have to be really careful not to rest my hand on any part of the drawing now, otherwise I'll end up with one big smudge. Now I can see the whole picture. I can tell which areas need more shadow or more light, so I can go around and add contrast and shadows where they're needed, and then go in with one of the white pencils and add the highlights right at the very end. I tried the white pastel, but it's not quite as bright as the white kohl pencil, which by the way I really love. Definitely going to be using this in some of my other art. Might even be getting more of these. I really like it. White kohl pencil, brilliant. And yeah, decided to use this one for all the highlights. By the way, sorry I'm blocking out the view with my bit of tissue here, but I realized I needed more strands of hair with the black pencil and more highlights and just a lot more detail, and I just don't trust myself to not accidentally lean on the page, so I'm going down and adding both contrast and highlights. It's funny, but I think some of the dark lines I added weren't even that visible until I started adding the white pencil. And by the way, this white kohl pencil is a really hard core, and it sharpens really well to a very fine point. It's just another reason why I'm really enjoying it. I think little highlights add so much definition to a drawing. It's absolutely amazing what a difference it makes. I've just realized I forgot to fill in her eyelashes. Usually when I draw eyelashes, I draw very sparse kind of lines to indicate where the lashes are gonna go, and then come back and fill them out later when the eye's done. I'm glad I noticed it. And there have been times when I finish the picture, take a photograph, I'm about to put it up on Instagram, and then I realize, oh no, I forgot the eyelashes. Or when I draw cats, it's usually whiskers. I forget to add the whiskers at the end. Well, that's it. She's just about done. Just gotta fix where I leaned on her face there and took out some color, a few finishing touches. Can you guess who it's meant to be? Admittedly, it's not the best portrait. I'm not used to charcoals. I feel like I might have been able to do a better job with pencils, but overall I'm quite pleased with the progress and I've really enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more random art. Thanks, see you soon, bye!